What's good, Commanders fans? I know I'm late Saturday, so definitely out and about a lot. But, of course, the biggest news today is that from Albert Breer, or really everybody, Kliff Kingsbury, the contract negotiations did not work with the Raiders, so that deal fell through. And now he is a strong candidate per Ben Standig, per Albert Breer, per Schefter, everybody, Garofalo. Everybody's talking about Kliff Kingsbury being a strong offensive coordinator candidate for the Washington Commanders. So I'll read the tweet from Albert Breer. A contractual hang-up led to there being an opening on Kliff Kingsbury. I'm having a hard time saying Kliff Kingsbury. It's like a tongue twister for me. And the Commanders are among the teams that swooped in to try and hire Kingsbury as offensive coordinator. Kliff to DC is in play. So I think it's a good candidate. Chip Kelly, I did some more research with Chip Kelly. If you want to think about Chip Kelly with the Eagles days, of course, you know, he didn't get along with a lot of guys, trading LaShawn McCoy and trading a lot of their guys, like trading for Kiko Alonso and doing silly stuff like that. But his running attack really did work. And he did a lot of good things with Mike Vick. Nick Foles had a couple good games. They went 10-6 2 times. So he had some good stints with the Eagles, a couple good seasons, and then it went when it went bad, it went bad. And then with the Niners as the head coach, he was terrible. But you saw him do some good things with Dorian Thompson-Robinson with UCLA. So that's all I'll say about Chip Kelly. I'm not banging on the table to hire Chip Kelly, but he has done some good things with his offense, RPOs, doing good things with mobile quarterbacks for sure. And then you look at Kliff Kingsbury. Now, of course, the hot thing to say is Caleb Williams to DC. That connection, because obviously Kliff Kingsbury was the offensive analyst at USC the past couple seasons with Caleb Williams. They do have a good relationship. You see in the thumbnail in the picture, them smiling, you know, dapping each other up and whatnot and stuff like that. So Caleb Williams at number 2, maybe we trade up to number 1. We'll see what happens with that. But there is a connection there. That just because we hire Kliff Kingsbury does not mean that Caleb Williams is going to be drafted by the Commanders. But there is a little bit of smoke and fire there for sure. But Kliff Kingsbury coached Pat Mahomes, coached Johnny Manziel, coached Kyler Murray as a head coach. Pat Mahomes is a head coach. Johnny Manziel is offensive coordinator. So Case Keenum back in college too. So some really, really high octane offenses. He's known for the air raid offense where you spread it out, a lot of 10 personnel, but he had to adjust in the NFL, started running the ball a little bit more. He came in 2019, wanted to throw the ball a lot, then adjusted, started running the ball more. Kyler Murray, what was the other running back's name? Like they had James Conner on the roster one time. They had Chase Edmonds. Like they had some really, really good offensive seasons. They made it to the playoffs in 2021. Kyler Murray had a good season. Kenyon Drake, he had one season where he had 900 yards rushing and 10 touchdowns. Kyler Murray had 819 yards and 11 touchdowns. Chase Edmonds had 448 rushing yards in that 2021 season and 1 touchdown. So just because he runs the air raid offense doesn't mean that he throws the ball a lot. He had 2,000 rushing yard seasons while coaching the Arizona Cardinals. So he showed that he could adjust in the NFL, not just run the air raid offense where you want to be pass happy. He does run the football and he want to get his running backs involved and use Kyler Murray as a runner too. You had to. And Kyler Murray is just going to run anyway. So it is advantageous for him to have a guy like a Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels. Drake May can run too, but just having an athletic quarterback who is more aggressive to running the football, who's more mobile and shifty and can make plays and run the football definitely would help with Kliff Kingsbury's offense for sure. So Kliff Kingsbury is 44 years old. You know him with the Cardinals. Cool guy. Does go back and forth with his players a little bit. Sometimes you do see that happening with him. But I think he would be a solid hire. I really do. And he's kind of a guy where you don't have to worry about him getting poached. Now, if he has a couple good seasons under Dan Quinn, then maybe he gets taken away. But I think, honestly, you saw what happened with him with the Cardinals where it went bad. They had an okay start. They were like 5-12 or whatever. Then they went 8-8. Then they went 11-6, and they started off 7-0. Remember, they had a really, really good start that one season, 2021. They started off 7-0, ended up being 11-6, and then at 4-13, they ended up bad. You saw him and Kyler Murray going back and forth on the sideline in a national televised game. So I think it would be a solid hire. You just look at some of the numbers here that you see with his offense over the years. You see some of the numbers here. In 2021, they were 11th. They ranked 11th in EPA per play, 14th in 2020. Then in college, 2016, they were 3rd in EPA per play. 2015, they were 6th in EPA per play. So he has a legitimate resume, man. He has a legitimate resume. 2,000-yard rushing seasons, up-tempo a lot, that 10 personnel, Like I said, in 2019, he ran 10 personnel for 60% of the time, and then for the rest of the season, the second half, just 18% of the time they ran 10% personnel. So he showed that he can adjust and run the football. So other candidates that I'm hearing now, of course, is Matt Canada. Don't really want him. And then Brian Johnson from the Eagles. Definitely don't want him at all. You know, the Eagles fire him. They let him go for a reason. There's like the stat that he threw a bunch of screen passes, and it resulted in a bunch of negative plays. But I do think Kliff Kingsbury, I'd rather have Kliff than Chip Kelly, to be honest. I don't really have a strong preference on either one, but you've seen Kliff be successful in the NFL. You've seen Chip be successful in the NFL, but you kind of seen it really it's a toss up to me. But I do feel like Kliff is more of a young, innovative guy. And I feel like if you do get somebody in here like Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels, even Drake May, but you just see that they're trying to get guys that coached college quarterbacks recently, guys that can come in and help and develop a quarterback for sure. Now, USC, he had a couple up and down years at USC as well. Some people are saying that his offense didn't look great at USC, but Caleb Williams still had a great season last year. He had a really good season. Then you see James Conner. James Conner had 15 touchdowns. 15 touchdowns under Kliff Kingsbury as well. So he had a darn good season with the Arizona Cardinals in 2021. He had 15 touchdowns, 202 carries for 752 yards. So you look at B-Rob, guys like that, that's a guy that should have no less than 10 touchdowns on the season. Seriously, no less than 10 touchdowns. So if you have him with Kliff Kingsbury, imagine him with Jaden Daniels or Drake May or Caleb Williams, get a good running game in here. DeAndre Hopkins had a great season. He had 1,400 yards under with Kliff Kingsbury the season that they went to the playoffs. Christian Kirk, Larry Fitzgerald was on the roster. You know, basically the last dance for Larry Fitzgerald. He had 400 receiving yards. So you got something out of him at really basically like the age 38, 40 years old. And then you look at some of his offenses as well. You look at the 2021 season, they were ninth in team yards per game. So that 2021 season, he really adapted to the NFL, and he got a lot of yards and got some good play out of them for sure. So he has the numbers to back it up for sure. Team rushing yards, they were about 14th. A lot of that is Kyler Murray, so you have to keep that in mind. But still, you know, rushing yards is rushing yards. So you got to take that. So personally, I wouldn't be mad at Kliff Kingsbury. He has the swag, he has the aura, all that stuff like that. You saw him in his house during the draft and stuff like that. The nice house that he has, doesn't really matter at all. But I think he's a good candidate. So is there concerns that, you know, things fell through with the Raiders? Maybe. I mean, you saw how Ben Johnson did us. Now Ben Johnson's going back and forth with us saying that he didn't like that basketball guys were talking like they had all this knowledge and stuff like that. These are rumors and reports. We don't know how true this is, but there's just more smoke coming out about what happened with Ben Johnson. And then now there's reports and rumors coming out on the Commander's side that he didn't interview well. So we don't know who to believe. Of course, this is a bad kind of, not going to say bad breakup, but just a bad situation that happened between the two parties. And now they're kind of doing damage control. So I hate to see it happen like that, but, you know, it is what it is on that. So, but all right, let's see if there's anything else I have. But I think he would be a good hire under Dan Quinn. The biggest thing for Dan Quinn is that he has to get a strong offensive coordinator in here. He has to get a strong offensive coordinator, and you have to find a replacement. And I feel like Kliff is the kind of guy where, I'm not going to say he has a bad rap for what happened in Arizona, but I think he's a guy where he has to really show out for other teams to really want to poach him and take him away for sure. So, but yeah, you look at his resume, Texas Tech, I want to say he did get drafted in the NFL. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, Johnny Manziel, Case Keenum, Davis Webb, a lot of people, Kyler Murray, a lot of people that he's coached and that's done well. So, like I said, he has things to show under his resume, coming in and making the Cardinals better. They were like 4-13 that first season, and then he made them better, 8-8. So he showed constant improvement. Got the best out of DeAndre Hopkins as well. Then you look at it in college, DeAndre Washington out of Texas Tech. He had a great season too. He became the first Red Raider to rush for 1,000 yards since 1998. So just because the air raid is an offense where you want to be up tempo and fast and spread people out, doesn't mean you don't run the football. So a lot of good things from Kliff Kingsbury as well. Like I said. And then also the Raiders, since they got burned, they are going to interview Eric Bieniemy. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But like I said, Matt Canada, I don't want him. He just got fired from the Steelers. And I definitely don't want Brian Johnson from the Eagles. I definitely don't want him, who really relied on that tush push over and over again, who certainly got ran out of town by the Eagles. So, all right, you guys let me know what you guys think, man. The offensive coordinator stuff is heating up, man. It's really heating up. And I do think if I had to bet, I really think they're going to end up with Kliff Kingsbury. I think they're going to end up with him because there's not many open spots left, and they're saying he's a strong candidate, but you can never be too sure, especially after the Ben Johnson thing. Just everybody saying he's a lock, and he ended up not being a lock. Now, the press conference for Dan Quinn will be Monday at 2:30. I don't think I'll be able to go live, but I definitely will be making a video to react to that. That should be a lot of fun. So I'm excited for that, to hear that and just hear Dan Quinn's energy. I'm excited to hear. I really am excited for this press conference. The move's growing on me, guys. It's growing on me. Like I said, I'm not going to be doom and gloom. I said that in my past video. I'm just going to be optimistic on it. And I think it's a solid hire. It's a solid hire. Of course, it's not a home run type of hire, but it's a solid hire. It just depends on the staff that he brings in. I think Kliff Kingsbury is respectable. I think Chip Kelly's respectable too. I think he's a respectable guy as well. There were some numbers that I had for Chip Kelly, how well he did with some of the Eagles teams too, in his rushing attack as well. So, all right, you guys let me know what you guys think. Hello, Commanders. Peace.